In this video, we're going to be looking at Madden 23 from the newer gen consoles compared to Madden 24 on the newer gen consoles. And if you want to know about Madden 24 new versus old gen, I'll have that video coming tomorrow, so stay tuned. But today it's all about 24 versus 23. We're going to look at players that finally got their face scans, players who got updated face scans, rookie face scans. We're going to even look at updated coaches, gameplay related stuff, presentation, features, and more. Starting off with Austin Eckler, he's finally in the game now, and you're going to also notice the player models are different and they vary more between different types of players. I kind of prefer last year's a little better, I think. I'm not sure. On some players, I think it looks better. On some, I think it looks worse. You can tell the pads are a little bigger now. They're more in between the old pads and last year, but I don't know. The upper bodies look a little bulkier to me. We got Eric Armstead finally in the game along with Fred Warner, who we just saw. I actually got a lot of Niners this year. Juwan Jennings, they must have made a stop at the Niners facility and got a bunch of these guys this year. We also got Ray McLeod as well, so a bunch of Niners finally got their likeness in the game. And again, you can see player models a little bigger this year. Let me know how you like it. We got second year guy Dameon Pierce. He's finally in the game as well. We got Brandon Graham finally in the game as well. And you can notice the player models I think are a little better for the bigger guys, because last year they almost looked a little sloppy. This year they still look like big guys, but a little more athletic. We also got Nakobe Dean's player likeness in the game as well. Still got some other big name guys on the Eagles that they really need to get in there though. We've got Cameron Curl of the Commanders. I mean, he was looking crazy last year, looking proper this year in Madden 24. We also got another Commander with Brian Robinson Jr. finally in the game as well, looking solid there. Tyler Higbee finally got his player likeness in the game, and his is looking on point. Hair looking good, beard looking good. That looks like Tyler Higbee for sure. We also got Zaven Collins, another young guy. His actually came out really well. Obviously, you see the new Arizona uniforms as well. We got Guyton of the Chargers, and also I noticed the numbers look a lot better this year. They looked really tiny last year. Like when you compare side by side, the numbers look way better this year. We got Matt Corral in the game now as well. Probably not going to see much playing time now that Bryce Young is there. We got some updated face scans now. We've got Josh Allen, of course. They're going to make sure the cover boy's right, so they got him looking right. But you could definitely tell pads a little bigger, upper body's a little bigger. You got the numbers are bigger, which I think looks better. Kyler Murray, phenomenal face scan this year. He was really due for an update. His old one was just so out of date, so good to see that. We got Travis Kelce with the updated scan. His old one looked like a PS2 face. It's crazy, but again, look at the numbers. They're standing out to me more now that I'm looking side by side. We got a good update for Tua here. His old one was super outdated. This one looks a million times better, but definitely think they did some good things with the bodies and the numbers and the likeness, but I don't know. There's some guys that still looks a little weird. They look a little bulky or something to me. Got Jay Herbo with a much improved face scan as well. His old one just did not look that good. You got the real hair now. The face looks way better. Mike Evans was kind of long overdue for an updated scan as well. You could see got the updated hair and the beard. And you'll also notice there's more detail on the face. It's a little subtle, but it should be expected each year on next gen. Those things should get better. We got DJ Moore with a slight update here, looking just a little different than his old scan. Updated the hair a little bit and things like that. A little more detail in the faces. Lamar Jackson's kind of another minor one, but you could see numbers on the jerseys definitely stand out. Pads definitely stand out. Some people liked the old pads when they were super bulky. Some people wanted them smaller, but then I heard people last year complaining they were too small as well. So it's like something that people just disagree on a lot. I think this year they found a little bit better of a middle ground. We got a good update here for Jared Goff. He was, I mean, look at his old face. That's just crazy. He was long overdue for one, and he's got it now. We've got Derrick Henry. You could see slight changes here, more so just in the detail of the face, but you could see they definitely gave him an updated scan. Looks more detailed, a little more up to date. He looks a little older. We got Stephon Diggs, another one. Didn't really change, but I'm just saying, look at the detail, and I guess maybe it's more the lighting than anything. I think this year the lighting just got better, which should happen each year on next gen. It should get better. Same with Mahomes. Not that it's an updated scan, but just has slightly more detail and just kind of comparing the body types and the numbers and the pads, just kind of giving you a look at some of the big name players side by side, so you could just see kind of where the details have changed this year, but these last few guys didn't get like totally updated scans. Now, people have been telling me the eye paint changed. I guess it changed a little bit. I guess it's more so the lighting probably. Again, they look a little shinier, so I guess they look a little bit more like eye paint now than they did before, but I think that's really more so just due to the lighting. I don't think they actually changed the paint too much itself, but I've been seeing a ton of people mention this, so wanted to get some eye paint shots for you here so that you could see it up close for yourself. They also gave Aiden Hutchinson his signature eye paint. He's the only one that has this. It's a part of his player likeness, so that's cool. Now we're going to look at all the rookies that are currently scanned into the game. Of course, we've got Bryce Young. Majority of the rookies usually come with the first couple updates after release. That's how it's been lately, so some of the bigger name guys are going to be in at launch, which is typical, but the big batch of them usually comes, you know, a few weeks later. But the ones they got in right now look really good. Each year, the new rookies that come in, the face scans get better and better because we're just another year on next next gen. The face scan technology is way better now than it was even 5 years ago. So all the guys coming in now, as you can see, they look really solid now. Bijan Robinson got a good scan there. Zay Flowers, another really good one. I mean, they look as lifelike as they pretty much could look at this point. We got Quentin Johnson with the face scan as well. They definitely are missing some big name guys like Jackson Smith and Jigba, for example. Like, there's a few guys they're definitely missing. We got Will Anderson here, got Devon Witherspoon, but yeah, the other names, they'll be there pretty quickly. They usually come shortly after release. They got Joey Porter Jr. though, second round pick. Most of the guys that are in the game right now are first round guys. And then we've got Tyree Wilson as well, who is also in the game. Now, hey, if you're still here at this point of the video and you haven't subscribed yet, you might as well go ahead and subscribe and join the family, because you're basically already a part of the family whether you like it or not. And if you want to stay updated with all your football gaming news, this is the place to be. Now let's look at some of the coaches. We've got the likeness for Dan Campbell, the Lions coach, finally in the game. Got some updates here for a lot of the coaches. Sean McVay, you can see, looks way better. A lot of it's just more detail in the faces now. They look a little more lifelike now. Again, when you get a year further on next gen, these things should change. We got Robert Saleh here. No crazy changes, but a little bit more detail, some slight updates. We're going to look at the crowd. On the left is 23, on the right is 24. They said that they use Sapien technology on the crowd as well, so the crowd does look slightly better this year, but it's not really nothing to write home about. It doesn't look like worlds better or anything. Now let's look at the pre-game presentation. On the left is 23, on the right is 24. They did change it a little bit. They actually made the presentation shorter this year. They took some things away. They added a few new shots, like the quarterback walking up shots. I think those actually look good. They're keeping the same theme of like kind of a primetime game type of feel here with the cinematics. So they did add some new opening shots, but pretty much after the opening shots, a lot of it is similar. They just run out the tunnel, kind of same stuff. You got some different wipes. They took away the flag. They took over the jets flying over and stuff like that. So it's really just some new shots in the beginning, some new wipes and transitions, but I do think those look better. And then maybe a couple new sideline shots. But other than that, like this one right here, I think with Mahomes, I think that might be a new shot. I could be wrong, but honestly, the presentation last year had more because it had next-gen stats, it had the flag, it had the flyover. They took all that out. There's no more next-gen stats or anything. So you could see on the right here, it's already about to start the game. The pregame for last year ran maybe like 20 to 30 seconds longer, had a few more things in it, as you could see. So just a few new shots, but otherwise they took some stuff away. Now the Super Bowl intro, kind of similar thing. It's going to just play off of the regular presentation except with the Lombardi Trophy in there. So it's going to be pretty much the same as the regular pregame. It's going to have the new shots on the right of the few new shots that there are, and then it's going to kind of be the quicker version. There's no next-gen stats and stuff like that, so we'll watch it through here just to look at it. There may be some new shots on the right outside of the beginning. I'm not 100% sure, but a lot of it's very much the same as we've kind of experienced for some years now. The presentation for pregame and stuff usually updates maybe like every 3 years. Like they'll add a couple little things here, but it doesn't usually get any major update for like every 3 years, maybe even 4 years. That's just kind of how they do it. So you can see on the right, they're already at the coin toss. On the left, they're still doing some intro stuff there. So it is a little bit shorter on 24. And for the Super Bowl celebration, it's been the same for 3 years now. I think this is like one of those things they clearly just only update like once every 5 years. Once we get a new one, we're just stuck with that one for 5 years, and we're kind of like back in that cycle now. They're showing some different angles here in 24. I don't know if these angles were in 23, but some of the shots, it's like the exact same shot happening, but they're showing it from a slightly different angle on a couple of the shots. So maybe that's what they changed to try to make it look a little different, but it's essentially most of the shots are literally the exact same anyway, even from the same angles. So they didn't really change much here. There's one small detail that they did change, which I'll show right here. When they're on the stage, the players don't have their helmets on anymore. So that's actually kind of a good change because they shouldn't be wearing their helmets, but they're still wearing it with the Super Bowl trophy being walked out and stuff. But on the stage, they take them off. So very, very minor change to the Super Bowl celebration. It's about time to revamp this again. Put a couple different ones in the game at one time so we're not constantly seeing the same thing. Now let's look at the weather. I don't really notice much difference with the weather. On the left is 23, on the right is 24. There is a new scoreboard as well, as you could tell, for people that are interested in that. But weather, I mean, it's pretty much looked the same since it's went over to next gen, in my opinion. Same with the snow, looks the same to me. Weather, kind of one of those things, it feels like it updates pretty much one time. When they go to a new console, it changes and it just stays the same for a while. Here's kind of the dirt on the jerseys and stuff. Not much difference. On the right is 24. It looks like they get maybe a little bit dirtier, but not really anything that significant. And here is the player movement. So the player movement's been pretty much the same since Madden 21 next gen. That's kind of the new player movement they've stuck with. It's been tweaked a little bit. You can see side by side. Still looks about the same. You know, when you're playing it, it could have a slightly different feel feel like jukes and spins and stuff like that sometimes feel slightly different year to year, but it's never like anything major. It's not a big of a jump as it was from old gen to new gen, where the movement is a completely different system. They're still using the same system from 21, some slight tweaks with the skill moves and stuff, but overall it's the same movement. Now in terms of franchise mode, feature wise, 24 definitely has a bunch more than 23. It's got mini camp, more trade slots, more commissioner tools, relocation, all that, but the interface itself is the exact same. As you can see, this is the interface they went with a couple years ago. They did change the social media screen up just a little bit, some small tweaks there, nothing to write home about, but there is a small interface change there. The standing screen is the exact same as well, so nothing changed there. Now I want to go over this because people have been asking on Madden 24, if you want to edit a player's equipment and appearance, it's different. There's no tab now. You got to scroll down on the first page of player bio and you go to edit appearance. Then it brings you to the newer editor that's like the career mode editor, so you can edit that way now. It's a little bit of a change up. Some people are having trouble finding it. That's how you find it. In franchise mode, you open a player card, you go down to edit player, and on the first screen, you're going to scroll down to edit appearance. It's no longer a tab. So for the people who are having trouble finding that, that's how you do it. They also changed up the coach editor a little bit, so you go down to edit appearance the same way as with players, brings you to the new player editor type screen. I don't think they have all the different apparel options though, so I don't know if they're going to add that in later, but if you want to go edit the face, you can kind of just see them all on screen at the same time, so it's a little bit easier. I don't know if they added new faces or not. I'm not 100% familiar with that, but instead of just scrolling through, you can actually just see everything that's available, so it makes it a little bit easier in that regard. You can also edit the coach's physique, which is new, and again, this is nothing big, major, nothing to write home about, but if you want to make a 7-foot, 400-pound unit of a coach, or a 5'5", 160-pound coach, whatever you want to do, you can do that now. Now in Madden 24, we also got a ton of new signature real-life celebrations finally added to the game, and you can check that video out right here on the screen.